my photo taste is the Pinterest, because they are the best.
From another country. The story was...
This is a download from BBC Learning English. To find out more, visit our website.
6 Minute English from bbclearningenglish.com.
Hello and welcome to 6 Minute English. I'm Alice.
And I'm Neil. Did you get all your Christmas shopping done, Alice?
I did, Neil, and I spent a small fortune, and that means a lot of money.
Well, I hate buying all those presents that people just don't really want.
Oh, Neil, you grumpy old Scrooge. And I hope you realise that the subject of today's show is Christmas kindness.
Oh, dear. I might be grumpy, and that means bad-tempered, but I'm not a Scrooge. I don't mind spending money. I just don't know what to buy people. Ebenezer Scrooge is the main character in Charles Dickens's novel, A Christmas Carol. He's a miser, and that means someone who loves money but hates spending it.
Indeed. Well, on the subject of A Christmas Carol, Neil, at the end of the story, what does Scrooge buy the Cratchit family for Christmas dinner? Is it A, a goose, B, a turkey, or C, a chicken?
Well, I haven't read the book, so I'm going to guess A goose.
Well, we'll find out later if you chose the right answer. Now, Neil, I agree that Christmas shopping can sometimes feel pointless. But we mustn't forget what a magical time Christmas is for young children.
Well, that's true. I remember how hard it was to get to sleep on Christmas Eve, worrying that Santa Claus would get stuck in our chimney.
Yes, well, Eve means the day before something. In this case, Christmas Day. Parents tell their children that Santa Claus, an imaginary old man with a white beard and red clothes, will bring them presents at Christmas time. In the UK, children believe that Santa comes down the chimney to get into the house.
But it's not all fun. Increasing numbers of people these days are struggling for money at this time of year. Having enough food to feed their families is what matters most, and buying presents comes further down the list. So let's listen now to a BBC Scotland report by Laura Maxwell. She's talking about a special event with lots of presents.
Beatrice Cadell has just celebrated her 80th birthday, and instead of presents for her, she asked her friends to buy toys.
Everyone that turned up for that birthday day were absolutely brilliant, and if it's good for something like this, it's even better, you know. Somebody else can benefit. We don't need it. We're old.
So, Beatrice is celebrating her birthday and she told friends and family to buy toys instead of presents for her.
Right, she had the generous idea of donating or giving the toys to a toy bank, a place where toys are given away free to people in need. The toy bank then distributed Beatrice's toys to parents who couldn't afford to buy presents for their children at Christmas.
Yes, so Beatrice is happy that children can benefit or be helped by her. She says she doesn't need presents. A woman after your own heart, Neil.
Indeed, and that means Beatrice has the same opinion as me. Well, that's a great example of Christmas charity. Charity means giving free help to people who need it.
Yes, and here's another example, Neil. Last year in London, 20 tons of presents were donated, wrapped and delivered to a local hospital to cheer up sick children who couldn't go home for Christmas.
Were they delivered in Santa's sleigh?
No, Neil. They were delivered in a big double-decker bus. Let's hear about the volunteers who made this happen.
Lots of different groups of people can come together under the banner of kindness. So religious people come together, corporate people come together, young people, old people. It seems to be something that stretches across many different demographics.
Under the banner of kindness? What does that mean, Alice?
Well, being under the banner of something means being part of a group who are united in support for an idea. And in this case, different people came together to do something kind for sick children.
And demographics, what's that?
Demographics means statistical information about a population and the groups of people in it. People from different groups in society are working together. The old and the young, religious people, corporate or business people.
And this talk of kindness is making me feel more in the mood for Christmas.
Oh, I can see that, Ebenezer. You've got a smile on your face. Now, earlier in the show, I asked, At the end of the story, what does Scrooge buy the Cratchit family for Christmas dinner? Is it A, a goose, B, a turkey, or C, a chicken?
And I said A, a goose.
Yes, and you were wrong, Neil. The answer is B, a turkey.
That makes me a goose.
It certainly does. Scrooge buys the Cratchit family a prize turkey. Delicious! A Christmas Carol is a lovely story. Everybody should read it.
And did you know that although turkeys are traditional Christmas food now, they weren't in Dickens's time?
Oh, I see.
No, they were exotic back then, and that means unusual because it comes from another country. The story was written in 1843. Now, how about hearing the words we learned today, Alice?
They are a small fortune, grumpy, miser, Eve, Santa Claus, donating, toy bank, benefit, after your own heart, charity, under the banner of something, demographics, exotic.
Well, that's the end of today's 6-Minute English. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas!
Please join us again soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
My photo taste is the Pinterest because they are the best. Flick to link, link to flick.
Miles, I'm feeling very still, and I think my spaceship knows which way to go. Tell my wife I love her very much. She knows. Ground control to Major Tom. Your circuit's dead. There's something wrong. Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear? Am I floating around my tin can? Far above the moon. Planet Earth is blue, and there's nothing I can do.
Слушайте, мы знали, что это должно случиться. Все, что мы можем, это сделать свою работу. Так что хватит таращиться и марш по местам. Вперед! Госпожа президент.
Идемте со мной.
Хорошо.
Энтони считает, я прав. Вы тоже так думаете, я знаю. Я поспорила с Хэтэуэем, теперь он мертв. Я приказала не сообщать его людям, радио сломано.
Вы были против миссии Волков. Теперь вы за.
Потому что Качи сказал, что если не разрушить сеть, мы все умрем.
И теперь вы ему безоговорочно верите.
У меня куча оговорок. Единственное, в чем я уверена, что сеть ШВ не принесет много лет. Так что я одобрила миссию. Я надеюсь, что мы не совершаем ошибку.
Мы все надеемся.
Полковник, если меня отстранят, а вы возьмете власть в свои руки, с этой минуты Чарльстоном будет управлять военные. И в новых Соединенных Штатах больше не будет демократии.
It's the TED Radio Hour from NPR. I'm Guy Raz. And on the show today, getting better. Jen, can you hear me? It's Guy Raz.
Yeah.
How are you?
I've been getting slowly better over the last 5 years, so...
This is Jennifer Brea. And by better, she means a bit healthier. Jen's a filmmaker now, but 7 years ago, before everything about her life changed forever, she was a grad student at Harvard.
It was sort of my temple and my home, and I thought that that's what I would do for the rest of my life, that I would be a professor.
And everything seemed to be falling into its right place.
I was with my boyfriend at the time, later my fiancé, now my husband Omar.
Omar and Jen loved to hike and camp and travel all over the world, which is how they ended up trekking in Kenya. But a couple days into that trip, Omar caught a bug.
He got really sick, and he was throwing up the whole time and had really high fever.
He eventually recovered, but as soon as they got back, it was Jen's turn. She got really sick.
And I had a fever for 10 days that at its highest was 104.7 degrees.
Wow, did you go to the doctor at that point?
I didn't go to the doctor because usually when you have a fever, it's viral and they just tell you to go back home and drink chicken soup, and I just stayed home and I thought I would just get better like you always do.
And at first, it seemed to work. After those 10 days, her fever broke. But the next day, she started to feel really dizzy.
I could not walk to the bathroom without gripping the walls.
And from that point on, Jen started to get sick all the time.
I was getting some type of infection almost every month. That's sort of when everything started to change.
Because even when she would recover from the infections, she never felt like she did before she got sick. She was always tired, her muscles hurt, even walking became painful.
I started having numbness on the right side of my face that then started to become, the right side of my body. And then I was at a restaurant with some friends, and after dinner when the check came, I couldn't sign my name. Like, I was staring at the check, and I didn't know how to tell my hand how to draw the letter J.
So throughout that first year, you were going to doctors basically to say, hey, something weird's going on.
Exactly. I kept trying to find help. I kept going to doctors, and first it was sort of saying, well, you probably just have an inner ear infection, or you're probably just a little tired. And then it started to become something more like maybe you have some anxiety and you're probably depressed.
Jen went to every specialist she could find, from infectious disease doctors to endocrinologists to cardiologists, and finally to a neurologist who said she might have something called conversion disorder.
That my symptoms were being caused by a distant trauma that I could not remember. And I pushed him on this a little bit because I thought, okay, you're trying to explain my neurological symptoms, but this all began with a really high fever, and I've had all of these infections, and are those also psychosomatic? And he said, yes, everything that you've been experiencing is psychosomatic, that the symptoms are real, but that they have no biological cause.
How'd you feel when you heard that?
A word that I can't say on radio. I mean, my first reaction was, that doesn't make any sense. It was the first time that anyone had ever doubted my own story, my own witness and account of my body. And then my second reaction was, well, if I really have a psychological disorder, maybe one of the symptoms of a psychological disorder